back onto that Range Rover again. Right, going to start digging into that bulkhead. Enjoy. Before we go absolutely berserk with tearing this thing apart, please subscribe, please like, please comment down below. All helps the algorithms. If you think you're subscribed, check. YouTube is doing some pretty weird stuff. Also, must apologise, the rock steady feature of this particular camera disabled itself for some reason, so there are big chunks of this video which are a little bit shaky. I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to reshoot it. Sorry, folks. The problem is now fixed, so after this video I'm rather hoping that, yeah, we're back to normal service. You shouldn't be feeling too seasick. Anyway, enjoy the video! Right, so I pulled the carpets back. It was already cut underneath the heater. Because the carpet it works in a kind of figure of 8 around the top of the transmission tunnel, but because someone's already cut it across underneath where the heater goes, I was able to kind of extract it and push it back. The underlay was already cut along here, so I lifted that out, but fuck me, look at these floors. Ain't they pretty? So yeah, it's just going to be, I'm not even sure I need to go Mr. Tappy. I might replace this original Burma Bright. So that is good. Passenger side, equally so. Underlay E-bar was absolutely, it's dry on the driver's side, sopping wet on the passenger side. But similarly, no real significant problems here. I think this is all going to end up being surface rot. These marks here, we'll see. Even if there's localised repairs need making, this is quite impressive. Right, my next job, because I want to start working pretty much on this side because it's the easier of the two sides to work with. I can get this done and then back together. Is I need to get the electrics out from underneath here. So I'm going to start by, because it's in the way, removing the heater box. So the heater box, undo that bolt, undo that bolt, undo that bolt, and then the box kind of comes down. You don't need to remove the deck in order to get the blower unit out. The blower unit goes inside this unit here, so you don't need to take this plastic shroud off here. These 5 bolts can stay, and those are the flaps down there for the blower units. The connector for the blower unit is, I think it's that one there. I think it's that one there. You can go round and take each of the connectors off it, but it's probably easier. Or there's a bolt under here as well. There's a bolt underneath, one there and one over here. So let me get myself organised. We'll see if we can get the blower unit out, because then what I want to do is to undo the frame on the bulkhead and pull the loom forwards and out of the way, so I can work on the bulkhead side without risking any damage. With me? I hope so. Yeah, I'm quite buoyed by this, and I've just exchanged emails with the customer to say that the floor is actually not bad at all. You think how much work I did on the floor on the 300 TDI, and this one is better, as is the bulkhead side, although it needs localised repairs. And the inner wing on this side is probably about the same. Now, what I'm probably going to do here, and I say this all the time, and then I'll end up editing it out. What I might do is I might actually chop this rail off here, extract it from the bulkhead side, repair the rail, seam weld it back on again, because then it'll allow me access to fix that. And once that's off, which I need to take off in order to fix that, then I can de-rust all the way along here, because all of the rest of this up here is actually quite solid. There's no real nasties. Oh, there's another big piece of glass fibre down there. Yeah, it'd be nice to get one corner done, I think. So that's my target for today, is to do the strip down, start cutting out and prepare. I kept this lot for the customer, so We were amusing ourselves yesterday, seeing if we could do the jigsaw, remake the inside edge of the bulkhead using the various bits of glass fibre and filler. Why people do it, I don't know. So that's that, but I am pleased about the floor. I mean, all these doors as well are all in really good shape. You bought a cracking car, James. I know I came and inspected it with you, but you bought a cracking car. It's very clean. Even that edge of the door, look. Just beautiful. Just fucking beautiful. Right, okay, onwards and upwards. Now, excuse me, cough. What I've done is I've untangled the loom from here as well. The loom does run underneath here to that connector, which goes up to the back of the car, I believe. But otherwise, most of the loom now is wrapped up around the steering column. I'll do the driver's side later. I want to get the easy side done first, but it does mean that by taking out the heater unit, I can then access the frame, this frame here, and drop the whole frame off the bulkhead and out of the way. It's not difficult. I'll go through it. Again, there's bugger all instruction available online or really anywhere else, so it's just one of those things. I can undo the plungers as well here and take all this sound deadening out. I don't necessarily need to take the heater out, I don't think. As far as I'm aware, it works. I'll double check with my customer. And then before everything goes back together again, I will just check each of these connectors, but they look better than the ones on the 300 TDI. Because remember, I think it was that connector there. I had issues with the mirrors, basically on both sides because of that. Right, let's stop gabbing on about it and get on with it. Okay, so undone the bolt at the top, loosened these bolts, taken two 13mm nuts off the bottom here, and now this blower unit comes out and down. Okay, it slides out of the side. Sorry, there's a blower unit, slides out of the side of the heater unit and comes away from the lower edge of the dash, and that is indeed the connector for it there. So once I pull that out, this whole thing can come out of the car. Let me just extract that, if I can get you to behave yourself. Oh, hands are frozen. Blower is on because it is so flipping cold. Like that. Then, oh, there's one more. There's the aircon connector, which is the pink and white one, which goes to there. Look at that. So that can come out as well. There we are. And then the whole blower unit is out intact. There we go. That's how you get those out. Now, you can get it out through the hole in the front of the dashboard, but you need to loosen off the two mounts either side, pull the dash forwards at the bottom, then you can get it out from underneath. Now I've got that out, I can see all the sound deadening at the back here. You may not be able to because it's a bit on the dark side. And I think really it's just a case of getting all this frame out now so I can pull all the loom out of the way. Pretty much exactly the same as I did on the 300 TDI. We've got two connectors, three connectors here for the door. You've got a connector over here for the rear end of the loom. But all of this lot needs to come down and out. And I want to get all this sound deadening out of the way as well. It burns beautifully, and I don't need that. Right, so the bolts for this frame, there's one bolt there, there's one bolt down there, and one bolt there. You need to move the loom a little bit to get to that one. It's a bit of a bastard, and there's another bolt over here. Then you've got three nuts, one there, so there's one at the top there. There's one over here hiding in the shade. You can see him over there, just there. And then, well, let's turn the light off and behold the joy that is this side of the bulkhead. Oh dear. So I know I need to take the water bottle out anyway because of damage to the inner wing. So let's go around there and have a quick look now. Because obviously there's a lot of rot down here. What I hadn't anticipated was that fucking great hole under there. Big bastard too. And that is a hole directly above the blanking plates that goes on this side of the dash. I think while it's at this stage, it needs to be done. It's only ever going to let water back in again, and this needs to be tight, doesn't it, really? So I'm going to take the water bottle out, see if I can see a bit further, because that needs to come out anyway. See if I can see a bit further in, and once I can, then I can work out with the customer where we're going to go with it. I think the worst case scenario on this is I have to extract the loom in much the same way as I did with the 300 TDI. Take the whole loom through the hole up here for now. Why was there a fanar then, Richard? I don't know why there was a fanar then, Richard. Anyway, take the whole loom through and into the cabin so that I can make the correct repairs to the bulkhead. We'll see. Right, okay, so we're still in stripping down phase, I appreciate, but we're getting very close now to be able to chop out and fix repairs here. That, by the way, is for the heated screen, which goes up there, which doesn't work. Right, I need to drill the pop rivets off here as well before because that plunger is for the bonnet alarm. They're quite sensitive. Bonnet light was not connected on this. I don't know where the wires were. Is that the wires down there? Probably. There's all sorts of wires down here. Yes. I think I can get away without taking the screen out for that repair there. I'm going to need to do something to protect up here. But I think welding in short, sharp bursts is going to fix that. Now, what I don't really understand here is, I didn't realise that was double skin, but then it's soft dash. So yes, I guess we're looking at the inside of this rail here, which I'm not going to go into, but what I will be able to do is once I've got the side section off, then I can make that good again. It looks like it's double skinned there, doesn't it? I guess. Because you've got that flat section, which is the bottom edge, I think, of that rail. And then we've got the traditional section, which is this part here, which you see on the hard dash Range Rovers. On the hard dash Range Rover, it's single skinned here. Not four skinned. For now. Right, okay, heater's going back on again, and I am going to start drilling pop rivets and get this washer bottle out. Washer bottle, 2 bolts at the back end, 1 at the front. They're always seized. They go into captive nuts on the washer bottle itself, and they're bastards to get out. So, sacrifice the bolt and then recover it once it's all on the bench. All of the loom has now been extracted. Managed to keep the LPG there, really just because it's connected by a nice big copper pipe there. There was enough flex on that with a curve from the filter, so I can just stand it up there and it's out of the way. That's a cooling pipe for the LPG. Yes, so there are some challenges down here on this inner wing, and there's also challenges up here, right up by the brake line. Should we get a torch, Richard? Let's get a torch. 1 second. Right, some challenges along the top edge up there, which I suspect are just going to get worse and worse and worse as I dig into them. So while I thought it was just stone guard, it was stone guard over filler, bearing in mind what we've already seen at the top end. I can't say I'm surprised. What I am surprised about is that, and that's, as you can see, it's just more filler on this inner wing. Why? Why would you do that? Again, relatively small area, but you can see, if I get my I'm going to get a screwdriver. 1 second. Come over to my nice tidy bench. I'm not even going to go berserk with it. No. But what we can see here is that when I get in under there, you can see that is all just filler. Bastard. And it's gone all the way down to this layer here and trapped all that moisture in there. Now then I started looking and thought, oh, wonder what that is. Oh yes. It's repairable. We're still not at new inner wing stage on this because the headlight box is so fucking beautiful. Although I'm tempted to have a little prod at it in a second. So again, there's more of this filler needs to come out of here before I can work out exactly what I'm going to do with it all. And then obviously I need to sort out this lot up here as well, because that's just not looking great. There's a big old hole. If we come over here, you can see where, down where the brake lines are, they go across the bulkhead, you can see there's a hole down behind the sound deadening, can you see? So just below the brake line, green brake line, you got the sound deadening, and then you can see a fucking great hole behind it. Bastard. Right, okie dokie, now we need a plan of attack really, don't we? I think really just to find out how bad this wing is, whereabouts we might find any further corrosion. See, this is all paint on this side, where it was all black on that side, which is why I started looking at it. Yeah, this is all paint. And this over here is all stone guard. I suppose worst case scenario is I replace the up and over section, but like I say, it's not that bad. With the bent rail on the side here, I don't know. Is it easier to cut the section out, repair it, weld it back in again? I don't know. I don't know. Thinking about it. I am thinking about it. There are screws, well there is a screw down there, which I think is okay. The bulkhead mount looks in good order. Right, I'm going to get on with cleaning crap out of up here, and all of that filler down there. It's just stupid really. In fact, you can see where the rust is starting to come through on this side because of that filler. Just going to use the end of my bloody torch. Right, okay. Cut out this side section here. I'm actually thinking what I might do is use the top of one of the repair sections. I have got a number of these repair sections kicking around. Either I'll use it to make the template or I'll replace it outright. It was sensible to take this much off purely because of that hole there, which was on this edge. Salvage the majority of the rail, which will go back on again afterwards, once we finish that. And then I started thinking about what on earth are we going to do with this lot up here. And I think what I'm going to do is, because I've got this repair here, I'm actually inclined to cut like this all the way along here, with me, to about there, and then cut up. Okay? Take this whole section out. When this whole section is out, I can repair then the top edge of the underside of the bulkhead, repair the top edge of the bulkhead, seam weld it back in again. I could cut nearer here, but then this is at the bottom edge where water might collect. By cutting up here, I'm keeping away from that lower edge, if you get my drift. I'm trying to keep it as watertight as I possibly can. This disaster zone here is actually inside this box section here. So once it's all cut apart, I'm going to work out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to repair the corner first. Once I've got the corner repaired, I'm going to work out what I'm going to do with regards to the heater. Now, spoke to the customer. I think realistically, because of the extent of the damage, and I've found a better way of showing it. Oh, if I get Mr. Torch. There we are. You see all that? It's fucking huge hole there. Some of it is through from the top section here. Some of it actually goes into the car. Really, the heater box needs to come out in order to fix that properly. And you can see holes over there as well, which really shouldn't be there. Really shouldn't be there. So I may end up doing a similar thing with the whole of the top edge of this bulkhead, whereby it gets cut off from one side to the other. I'd rather not, you know, truth be told. But it's difficult to know how else I might do it. Now, I was thinking about unzipping this front rail here. There's a few spot welds along there, nothing particularly serious. I could then cut it here, take this piece off the front, first and foremost. That might work. We'll see. Because you can see there's rust along that edge as well. And I don't know how far that rust is actually going to go. Obviously, I've got the brake lines under here, which is a faff, I'll be honest. Really could do without it. I don't know another way that I can get around it, though. So I'm probably going to go up to about here, I think, and then once I've got this top section out of the way, I can treat further sections as is appropriate. It may end up being that I need to cut more and more and more out. I don't know. Until I get the top section cut off, though, I'm really not going to know anything at all. I mean, part of the problem here is that I can get hold of this piece here, and there's barely anything holding this to the top section of the bulkhead. It was all just filler. Oh dear. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is pretty much from this rail downwards on the bulkhead, across its entire length, apart from that big fucking hole down there, is in good order. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think all of the damage has actually occurred purely because of the filler. Anyway, anywho, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along this with a reciprocating saw. I might need to just use, in fact, I'm going to take this plastic surround off here because it goes underneath this lip here. I don't want to damage this, so I'll take that off, and then we'll see where we go to with a cut. There's the top edge of all that damage there, and you can see all along here there's rust. Some of it goes into the car, some of it goes into the engine bay. Another big lump there. So it might end up being that we I don't know until I get there. Let me start with the first cut. At the end, it just seemed more sensible, because I've got to work on both sides of the bulkhead, just take this entire lip off. It can be plug welded back into place once I'm done, or I'll buy a brand new one from Machinal. He folds them out nicely. So then what I'm left with, and you can see the rust that's crept up and underneath that panel, less so on the driver's side, but it's not uncommon. There's only a few spot welds to drill along the outside here, and now that's all done, only one broken drill, no broken fingers, I can start really working on this side in earnest. So I think, let's get a pen that writes on turds, or maybe pencil. Oh, that'll do. So I need to get this plastic box out, but I'm wondering perhaps if I cut right up to the edge of the plastic box and cut straight across to the plastic box. Okay, so I'm staying outside the boundaries of the box section. I'm staying above the point where water might settle. That might be the best solution. I don't know. I need to be absolutely sure about where it is I am going to cut, because it'd be nice if I just made one cut and then welded it back in again, or found another part. This is salvageable, I think. It's just the bottom edge that I want to rebuild. Yes, I think. Therefore, I'm starting to feel a bit better about this. Not that I was ever particularly. I'm starting to feel like I can see now how I'm going to fix this. I just need to be careful of these brake lines when I cut through. I'll do that somehow. Or just take the brake lines off. That would be the easy answer, wouldn't it? Yes. Right, slight complication on the cutting of this rusty bulkhead section out is that this panel here, as you can see, runs along. Great, okay, we're going to need to cut it off anyway, but I want to do that as a separate chunk. So what I've done is I've identified the 3 spot welds along the top here, which attach the top bulkhead section to that flat plate that's rusted there. Now I can cut along here, pretty much along to about there, I reckon. I'm going to cut the whole damn lot out. So I'll aim to cut straight up to here and straight from here across. Going to have to be careful of brake lines though, aren't I? For fuck's sake. Do you want to get any more in the way? Probably time to call James actually and say, can I just collect the brakes? You need your brave trousers on really, don't you, when you're doing shit like this. I can see where it is I'm going with this. But yeah, it can be quite concerning. Now what I've done, since I've taken this out, I can now see that this inner face here is as soft as shite. So we're going to have to make repairs further in on the blank side of the A post. All of that crap down there is just what's fallen off the underside of where I'm working. But at least now I can make localised repairs there and here. Clean that all up, because that's actually doing its job. This piece, now it's off the car, well, you can see why I took it off, can't you, really? Yes. It is fucked, but we're going to have to repair that because there's no templates that are available. I'm going to have to use certain chunks of that, and the reason I used my reciprocating saw is because I end up with a very, very thin cut. So that will be relatively easy to weld back in exactly from whence it come. I managed to shift the brake lines by manipulating the brake lines up and over the insulation pad at the back there, and zip tying it onto the throttle cable. I've managed to keep them out of the way with very little strain or stress. That's what I did there. So I've got a number of reference points in order to get this back exactly where it should be, which is that bit. So then why did you cut off the frame that the box did? Well, that's the answer already. I'm already telling you. Look at that. Yeah. So that bit then will get repaired first and put back on. Okay? Weld that back on. Then I can weld the rest of the stuff to it. Now I'm going to have to take the remains of this off here because there's just no point keeping it there. Really, is there? It's just... So this now, on this corner up here, is more or less exactly the same as the work that I did on the 300 TDI. In fact, it's probably a little bit more serious because I'm digging a bit further into it. But, like I say, don't be scared about this shit. It needs doing. It needs doing. What I am thinking about this at this point is I want to double check this seam down here, because I'm just a bit concerned now that this seam here might give way at some point. You can see already there's a ropey patch down there which has already given way. And then we've got this hole just underneath here, and another hole there. One step at a time, Richard. One step at a time. Small welded repair to the frame section. So that's all kind of, that's just in there ready to check it aligns with the box still, which it does. And then what I was then looking at was the lip that goes over the front of the box is actually part of this section of the bulkhead. So that piece comes down, you see that comes down, it goes all the way down to here, and then this outer lip goes from there to there to there. Now at the moment, I look at the underside of this, yeah, we're missing most of it. So what I'm going to try and do here is separate these two halves. Now obviously I need to cut where the bonnet hinge section goes in. I think it's probably going to be easiest to cut these ones here. Cut these two, otherwise I have to cut those three. We'll see. It might... I don't want to cut too many bloody times because otherwise it's just going to end up being an absolute shambles. Then really I want to see what's going on underneath here with this lot. Well, I think it's all just surfacey McSurface, just where the primer has got wet and water soaked underneath it. Excuse the fan. flipping cold. So we can rebuild that, reattach that to this, and then put that on the outside. I reckon we'll be done. So really what I'm going to do next, I think, is take out, this is the original seam seal that we've done along here. It's not weld, it's seam. It should be seam sealer. It should be soft. Well, it's not metal, it's just seam sealer that's gone off. So I need to get all of that out. You can see it's started to come out along here. Really all of that needs to come out of there. Then I should be able to find the welds, use a Dremel perhaps to cut through here. In fact, what I could do is cut inside that, couldn't I? And then that will leave me a telltale for exactly where this outer plate needs to go back onto. And repair that piece, weld it back on with that piece. And then repair that piece and weld it back on. Seems okay, doesn't it? Separated the two halves. Nice, huh? Right, sorry. Popped an eardrum, I think. Anyway, enough of that bollocks. So what I need to do now is to line that up on there. Yeah. And measure, I'll probably reinstall the box down here, and measure how much this lip needs to go down by. Although, I could probably take a rough guesstimate, couldn't I, from there? Because that's got the bolt hole in it. So if I was to come down to about here and then trim back, then I want to make up repairs to that, repairs to that, repairs to whatever else. Start doing all this. Now it's all apart, and we are, oh, 2:30. So we've been a good couple of hours pissing around with this thing so far. Okay, so we've got to start somewhere. What I've started with is making this plate here, which I've used the repaired frame to fabricate to the right sort of shape, bolted it into position in the bulkhead where it wants to go using the blank plate. Now I need to really, next bit is to pull this forward just a tiny bit so I can get the backing section in up here and see roughly where that needs to join on. Starting to go back together again. Very slowly, but yes, starting to go back together again. Now, that's there. Yeah, that's more or less where it needs to be. I'll need to get a clamp onto here really just to hold that into position, but at the moment it's really about marking this top so I can see there where the bend needs to occur so that that can then turn into this piece up here. And I need to find out where it happens on this side over here. Hickety-uppity again. There you go, a little bit like that. So I held the plate straight on the front using big clamp, positioned this using the butt clamps. So it's roughly in the right sort of place. It's probably a millimetre out, but it's roughly in the right sort of place. What I can then see is I can see the line along which I want this repair section to fit onto that original section. Get my drift? Of course you do. That then, I think, will do the front edge. What I'm then going to need to do, I need to clamp that onto there, don't I, really? So I'm going to have to get a bigger clamp to clamp that onto there, just to make sure that I've pulled that down to where it needs to be. And then, before I can weld these two bits together, but then I need to repair this edge along here, repair that piece up there, repair that piece there, then I can put the bulkhead side piece on, then I can weld it all in.